class chatting about what's been going on in the world right now and what that might mean for organisations in terms of response to the coronavirus crisis. Well, we were talking about various themes that we see emerging in the economy in general and for businesses to deal with. Today I thought it's quite nice maybe to have a look at our 9 steps method. We've been writing about that over the months in the blog that we have, and it's something that you can see on the website. It is our core way of working at Loughridge Transformation. It's the method that we use to diagnose and then deliver changes or transformations. And one of the things which I'm quite proud about is just how flexible it is and how it really fits in so many situations. That's been our experience to date. So we were really finding again just how fit for purpose this method is in the current situation. And I think one of the reasons I like it is that it works on both really small changes that you want to make and more material changes, and it helps you to identify what are the changes you need to make in order to get the outcome that you actually want. So it's not with a predefined outcome, do this and this and this to become world class, but rather really understand the situation, understand the external situation, and then decide according to your priorities and to the values that you have within the company how you can really make those changes. So for me, one of its particular strengths and why I'm really happy with it right now is this reflection on the external world. And with all the things we were talking about when we were speaking earlier that are changing in the world, it really makes sense to have a look at those things when you're embarking on a transformation.
For those viewers who are new to the 9 steps, we have quite a lot of viewers, of course, who have seen the 9 steps for a good few months now. This is not something we've done post-COVID-19, and the reason why I'm saying that is that it's almost as this was written for that, because it fits so well into the changes. And also what I like about the 9 steps, which just wanted to touch upon, the steps are, just as you said, Jennifer, they are completely scalable. We do the steps, but again, the attention you pay to each step, that will vary from company to company and from the change you are undergoing. Change will happen. We will have to undergo change.
Yeah. And
these 9 steps methods is a very structured, good way where we can guide companies through those upcoming changes.
It's 9 steps, but it's not 9 hugely time-consuming steps necessarily. You have to make it very, fit for the situation. So in today's environment, people are needing to respond potentially very quickly to what's been happening. They may need to with quite some urgency, move to cost-cutting methods, to perhaps making a change in their organization or so. So it's not that you spend months and months on each step. No, if you have something where you have a very time-defined delivery that you look for, you can make each of the steps really, very focused. And maybe it's just a couple of hours is all you take on a step.
The step 1 starts at the very beginning. What is my organization? How does it work? How does it really work? It gives you all kinds of handles to improve your company. But also in the end, the last step is sustain the situation. And it's a complete series of steps where you go from the current situation to the sustainable new situation. And I think that last step is also very important, because what you see in a lot of situations that you have done the whole project and all the changes prepared and done, and half a year later you are back to where you were when you started, because these changes are not sustainable.
Absolutely, otherwise you've effectively wasted the money, right, of doing the change.
I think we all have seen examples of that in the past, where a lot of money, effort has been spent on a change program. It wasn't thought through the importance of how do you govern the change, how do you sustain it.
I like the kind of mixture of the human element and the process element in what we do in terms of sustainability, because I think there's always the two pieces. So one, have you actually designed a new process or new system or whatever it is that is actually doing what you want it to do and is sort of set up for success in that way, but also the sort of human side of that change is not necessarily that easy for a group of people to take on. So we do things both on the human side and on the sort of systemic side to make sure that you actually have a holistic product that will sustain.
I think the change of the people is the hardest part of it. Because people tend to go back to what they were used to do, and
Look right now for inspiration, the challenges that people have, even just sort of psychologically, with making the adaptation rather to home working and you know the various other changes that are actually externally imposed right now. That just shows you a little bit how people sometimes find these kind of changes, and you get groups of people who are very keen to go back to just exactly how it was, let's say 12 months ago, when we didn't even know anything about this coronavirus, to those who actually are seeing the opportunity for a different way, and maybe a way that's actually better for families and it can be better for organisations as well. Certainly better for the environment if you think about the travel and the commuting and that sort of thing. But what you do see indeed is that you do need a little bit of process redesign to make that really all work. So I think you to make, and maybe that's back to what we were just saying about sustainability, to make the immediate changes that people have been forced to take on board right now sustainable, you will need to do a little bit of tweaking here and there.
The larger the company, the more global the company, the harder that becomes. And of course, not just the human change, but you also then, the bigger the company, the more emphasis I think you need to think about, how do I monitor, how do I make this compliant, how do I know we are on track.
The culture of the different countries and the difference between the cultures and the people in these cultures make it more difficult, because a change in, say, a European country can be completely different, or different at least, from a change in an Asian country or in the US.
And frankly, if you're talking about finance, which is our area of expertise, if you are a multinational company, you're not just talking about different operating units, you're quite likely talking about a shared service centre, whether that's in-house or outsourced, that is located somewhere else, potentially in a different region of the world, and then you have a process that's cutting across both. So as you try to make tweaks and adjustments, whether that's for a bigger transformation or something responding to what's happening right now, the responses will be different in the different cultural groupings.